Hi there, this is Michelle Lastly of Balance Shared, a women's empowerment network. Welcome to my bullet journal flip through.
So I thought I'd do a quick flip through of my second bullet journal. So what we have here is a Leuchtturm journal covered by an Oberon cover. This cover was made in around 2007 and given to me as a gift from my husband. I've got some information here, name, address, and I put my phone number and email as well. I love color and I love playing with color, and so I use the Tombow dual brush pens because of the watercolor feature. It's got a great brush tip and then the other fine tip, and so here's a color tracker to track all the colors that I've received. So the concept of a bullet journal is take any notebook, any pen you have, page number it, use an index, and check out the key that Ryder Carroll, the developer of the bullet journal, created to see if it fits for you. You can see everything about bullet journaling, how he originally intended it, from bulletjournal.com, and I'll have a link in the description. It's important to note that his style is incredibly minimalistic, very simple, cut to the chase, a lot of lists to help organize your day to get whatever thought is in your head in one space. I operate very much from an artistic side of the brain, and so I incorporate a lot of color, doodles, and different designs into my work. This is by no means the only way to bullet journal. So if you're looking at this, please banish any thought that says, I can't do this, because a bullet journal is your way for organizing that works for you. My favorite part of the bullet journal is that it starts with an index. So I need to tell you that I started this journal in the very end of February and I set it up for March. And I'm already halfway through because I write a lot. This is the key, and I've modified it from how Ryder originally intended it. I come from a Franklin Covey system, and I've really grown attached to squares, some sort of a square representation. Usually it was pre-printed in the journal for my to-do lists, and I use the dot as my in progress. And then I like check marks for done and X to delete something. If something is scheduled, and now this is where we get some borrowing from the bullet journal system. If something gets scheduled, he uses the greater than symbol. And if I migrate something, if I move it towards another day or another month, then I'll use the right arrow. A note is just a dash. And so the idea, again, is that we're using this throughout the day to record all the various events that come into place. And so a note is just a simple, quick phrase to capture something that happened that you want to remember. You can journal about it later, video it later, or whatever later, but you want to get it out of your head into the system so that you can free up your brain space for other great things. And a circle is represented for an event. I also made a note because I'm using the Leuchtturm A5 medium dot grid journal, which I found to be fantastic for organizing all sorts of things, charts, etc. I wanted to make a note of the dimensions. So it's 26 squares wide and 38 squares long. The next component of the bullet journal is a future log or an annual calendar. I added the little calendars on the side because that helps me stay organized. For example, I can highlight important events really quickly. I see the world visually, not just in text. When I migrate to my next journal, even though I'm probably going to go through a couple of these a year more than I originally thought, I'm going to have an 18-month rolling future log because that works for me and that's how I plan. For example, I already have something that I want to keep in mind for April 13th. I also feel like it's important to note that I use my electronic calendar for a lot of my calendaring, and I maintain multiple calendars to see what my husband's doing, what my son is doing, and then the various tasks that I do with the different activities that preoccupy my day. So then every month I'll do a monthly review and I come into this monthly log, which is just a list of all the important things going on that day. And the fun thing about the bullet journals, you don't have to make this fancy. You just start with numbering the days, 1 through the number of the month, so March 31, and then next to it you put if it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Being a visual person, I wanted to see the weeks, so I just drew a line. I like my weeks to start on Monday, work week, finish off from Sunday, and so that's why I've got that there. And then on the next page, you do March tasks. What I love about the thinking in this system is that it's all at the beginning and right here. With Franklin Covey, I always had to flip backwards, and it was just never something I did, so I never paid attention to the tasks that I had to do in a month. A lot of people have picked up on habit trackers for the bullet journal, so again, you're doing this personal development along with maintaining your day. I'm a little behind on tracking here, but this is a Lenten log. We've got an indicator for me and an indicator for my son. This is my March habit tracker, and I picked out things that were important to me to maintain in business and personal. I had some room left over, so I added a quote. To keep a lamp burning, we have to keep putting oil in it, Mother Teresa. Love that because, especially on this page, so often we forget self-care. And if we have nothing to give, if we've depleted our resources and our energy, how can we give to all those that we serve? Whether it's our clients, our husbands and wives, partners and spouses, our children, or our friends. So keep putting oil in your lamps. I really appreciate this idea of nourishing my network. Clearly I have some work to do here. And then I love this gratitude log, and this is a great space for me to incorporate drawings and words. This is a flourish, not an extra E on 9th. So this is one of the weekly layouts that I created. I noticed that I switched it up quite dramatically when I switched from the Oberon journal, which was completely online, great for sketching, but I didn't really enjoy the experience for creating the bullet journal. And all of a sudden with this A5, from this half letter to an A5 size, it felt like my space just expanded and it gave me so much more room to work with. So I've played around with the layout a little bit, tracking the things that are important to me. Unused note section, made that go away in the next bit. I am a prolific note taker, and I love the concept of a bullet journal as getting all your stickies and notes and perhaps your journaling and your sketching all in one place. Because I do have all those interests, one of the things that I found that was a problem for me is that I had a really heavy bag with me all the time. And what's great about this system is it's just one thing. I make it heavier with the pens and pencils I carry around with me, but that's a personal choice. So, I have my daily log, and it starts like something small usually, and then it grows with the different events and notes that I'm taking throughout the day. If I ever have a blank space, I'll usually add some sort of doodle, and for me, that's a way to continue to add beauty and whimsy into my days and weeks, which helps fill me up. When we got to the 10th week, I realized I didn't use the notes section, so I switched things up a little bit. I added meals and sort of rearranged how I did the days. The flexibility of the bullet journal is one of my favorite things about it. So this is a great example. Thursday, I had a lot of ideas of what I ought to do. Still need to get some of these things done. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I had fewer events, and so it was synced up. And when I was using any sort of regimented planner, I was always stuck to whatever they chose, and it didn't allow me the flex to bend and move as I needed to. This page is a great example of making a mistake. I agreed to track some of the things for the Pinewood Derby, so I made this great chart to track certain things, and then it turned out some sign-up sheets were already created. And so I created this picture of just something that I found pretty through my imagination to decorate and doodle later, so to keep me occupied in that moment, and then as I'm reflecting on the day, was able to add beauty and whimsy. And then I used it to make some notes about things that were important to me. Here's a table that's not finished when we think about our gardening for the year. And what's great though is that I've already indexed it, so I can always go back to it. When we get to St. Patrick's Day week, I changed up the layout again and I added some color relevant to that week. Still maintaining the same kind of elements. When I meal plan, I cannot do regimented meal planning, Mondays or whatever, Tuesdays or taco night, all that. And so what works for me is to have an idea of 3 to 5 meals I'd like to plan during the week, and then I'll make sure that our groceries are stocked for that. Or I'll choose the meals based on the groceries I know we have in the house. Here's another table. One of the projects I worked on, the Tolman Guide for Sustainability, we created a table like this, and I'll have a link to that in the description too. I'm going to try to make a note of the lunar calendar. It's a little slow going for the patience that I have to put into it, but I will finish creating it, and then I don't know if it'll get migrated to the new journal. Lots of notes. Space doodle. A version of an ideal schedule. Jessica Hansen is starting her business, and she really encourages tracking all 24 hours in the day. I love that because sometimes a lot of these schedule trackers will end at 7 o'clock. I've got events that go past 7 o'clock some nights. Maybe not ideal, but that's the reality of it. And I love putting sleep in here because we all need sleep. We all need our nourishment. We need to recharge. So block time for it. I changed up the layout again, but this was mostly doing with color rather than an actual layout change. Some people, when they bullet journal, they have themes for the whole month of the colors they want to use. This will be a great spot for a doodle if I get to it. I migrated this concept from the old journal, and I will continue to push it forward as a goal tracker. I went to an event, a 3-day retreat over the weekend, and so planning ahead, knowing that I'm a prolific note taker, I plopped Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's dailies on one page and then just started fresh for the next almost 40 pages. And here we are to this week, the 13th week of 2017, March 27th through April 2nd. And I've changed up how I do it a little bit again. Continue to practice my brush lettering, making notes of relevant appointments and ideas of what we want to eat. Like tonight, we didn't eat super healthy. We really did buy that freezer pizza and it was really good. And that was today. I'll go through and check these off later, and here's tomorrow. And then you can see the Loic Germ journals have 249 pages, and I'm on about 121. So I'm hoping I'll get all of April and May in here, but I might not. I might be migrating over to a new journal at the end of the next month. We'll see how many events I have that do a lot of note taking. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this flip through.
This has been a Balance Shared production. Thanks for listening.